You want to hear something crazy? I just completed my goals for the year for 2025. I'm not talking about accomplishing my goals. I'm saying that I literally just wrote and uploaded to my system the goals that I have for 2025 at work. Not even talking about comics, right? I am tardy to the party, partially because I took a new job and had to focus on different priorities, and goal setting at the time wasn't one of the priorities, but I just knocked it out. And as a result of doing my goals for work, that got me to thinking about some of the goals that I set for myself for the hobby for this year. And so in this video, I want to do a little bit of a check-in and share with you guys the progress that has been made with these goals. And my hope is that potentially this video will inspire folks that have set goals for themselves for the hobby to give us an update down in the comment section. Potentially, if you haven't set goals for yourself thus far, this video might inspire you to actually create some goals, because as I've demonstrated, at least at work, it's not too late to set some goals. Stay tuned. Reggie here, and I want to welcome you to another one of my videos. As I mentioned, I just set my goals at work, and I'll tell you, I set myself up for success. Yes, the goals are aspirational, but they're also based in the reality that I've done some stuff over the last couple of months that I've been at this job, and the goals also recognize that there's not a whole lot of time left in the year, so they're very realistic and very attainable because I want that bonus money. But as I stated, setting these goals at work got me to thinking about some of the goals that I set for myself for the hobby for this year, and I thought that I would create this video and give you guys a little bit of an update. So one of the goals that I set for myself was to take advantage of where prices are in the market and to add some books to my collection that are meaningful to me. Not necessarily expensive books, but meaningful books to my start, if you will, in the hobby of comic book collecting. Books that I've thought about adding to the collection, but for some reason or another just never really got around to. So a couple of those books are on the table here in one stack, and then I have a couple of other stacks here on the table that I'll show you guys as well. But one of the books that I added to the collection that is very meaningful to me is this one right here. Infinity Gauntlet issue number 1. This is a really cool book. This book changed a lot for me back in the day when I read it in high school. I became this huge fan of Thanos and Warlock, and I picked up any and everything that was related to those two characters, and Infinity Gauntlet was just part of that. Absolutely love this book. I have my original still in the collection raw, but I wanted a 9.8 because just of what this book and what that character represents. So I added that one to the collection. Super pleased about that one. Another book that I added was this one right here. This is Spider-Man issue number 1 by Todd McFarlane. This is the gold foil cover. The second print, I think, is really what it's considered. I have a ton of these books in the collection. I have my originals from my childhood, and I have a green and silver 9.8 in the collection, but I didn't have the gold, so I wanted to go ahead and add the gold to the collection, so I went ahead and did that, and again, super pleased about that one. You guys have heard me talk about X-Men. I'm a huge X-Men fan, as evidenced by the wall behind me. Years ago, I picked up a collection of books. It was basically a collection of all newsstand comics, and in there were some really great newsstand X-Men books. The 1991 by Chris Claremont and Jim Lee. One of the books that was not in there in a really high grade was this book right here. It was this one. It was X-Men issue number 1. This is the gatefold cover. So I have all of the others in newsstand. I do not think that there is a newsstand version of this one, but I also didn't have a 9.8 of it to go with the other 9.8 specifically newsstand. So I went ahead and added this one. White pager, really great book. Really pleased to have that in the collection. Again, none of those books are really worth a lot, but they're meaningful to me, and that was a goal, again, that I kind of set for myself. One of the other goals that I set was to strategically upgrade books in the collection. Again, because of where prices were headed at the beginning of the year, I thought that this year could be a really good time to upgrade some books. And the big thing was to be strategic about it, not to say I'm going to upgrade this book and that book exactly, but here are some books that I want to upgrade. I wanted to be open to the possibility of finding better grades of certain books and being smart about the timing in which I upgraded those books. One of those books is actually on the wall behind me back there. It is the Gambit book, specifically X-Men issue number 266. I had a 9.6 of it. I wanted the 9.8. The 9.8 is hanging on the wall behind me. I was very strategic about this book. I've wanted to upgrade this one for a while, but the prices, in my opinion, were crazy. I waited and waited and waited, and the price was right, and I finally took advantage of it. I think the value of that one has decreased even more, but I'm actually okay with that because of where it was and where it is, or where it was when I bought it. That delta was very significant, and where it's gone since purchase is not that significant in my mind. So just a really cool book to have picked up. Going back to my childhood a little bit, this is another book like Infinity Gauntlet that really inspired me as a kid. And in some ways it actually started here. This book also not crazy expensive. This is Thanos Quest issue number 1. I have my original that I graded years ago. I think I graded that book back in 2017. It's one of the early books that I graded because it was meaningful to me. Now I have the 9.8 of it. I think the original is only an 8.5 or something like that, but a really cool book. Another book that I wanted to upgrade goes back to my childhood was this book right here. Again, just being super strategic about this. Not all of these are related to my childhood, but it was about the opportunity presented itself, and so I took advantage. G.I. Joe issue number 1. This is a 9.6, which is a great grade, but I wanted to go higher. And I saw this one and I could not turn away from it. 9.8 G.I. Joe newsstand. Big upgrade. I absolutely love this book, and I was partially inspired to pick this one up because of the new Image Comics Skybound run of G.I. Joe that I've been reading and really enjoying. So you might be thinking potentially, setting goals for yourself is all about spending money, right? And that could be the takeaway just from what I've done here. But it's goal setting, specifically SMART goal setting, which is something that I'm a huge fan of, is not just about spending money. It's about setting very specific goals for yourself and spelling out how you are going to accomplish those goals over what period of time. And I found both professionally and personally, this idea of SMART goal setting allows me to be much more successful in achieving that goal. But it's not just about spending money. Goal setting, whether you do SMART or not, can be about anything. It could be about organizing your collection. It could be about selling books. It could be about going to cons or buying a collection. One of the things that I kind of set for myself was I wanted to go to a couple of cons this year, but I wanted to be smart about the cons that I went to. And I wanted to meet some really awesome creators, folks that I've always been a fan of, but never had a chance to meet. And it's kind of tied to some of the books that I just showed you. Jim Starlin was one of the guys that, just motivated me and inspired me as a kid. I finally had a chance to meet Jim Starlin at a con, and it was fantastic. Dennis Cowan, another guy that I wanted to meet for a very long time because of his work on Deathlock. Huge fan of him with Deathlock and the stuff that he did with Milestone. Finally had a chance to meet him and spent probably 20 or so minutes just talking to him and his sister at the con, and that was honestly magical for me. So goal setting, SMART goal setting, isn't just about spending money. It's about identifying what's really important for you and mapping out a plan to actually achieve that goal. One of the other goals that I set for myself was I wanted to sell a bunch of comics this year. And I wanted to sell a bunch of comics because I have a lot of comics and I want to move those out into the world in an attempt to convert that into some money and bring that money back to be able to invest back into the hobby. And that is honestly how a lot lot of these books were purchased, not with money from my pocket or from my paycheck from the job. It actually came from me selling comics. And I think this year I've sold probably around 700 or 800 comics. I have specifically sold in one app alone 553 comics. Came across something called Encore, decided that I was going to make Encore a specific goal, and I sold 553 books. As of today, have another 40 or 50 or so books on the platform right now that I'm hoping to sell, but that was a specific goal that I set for myself. I did that because I wanted to generate some cash to buy some other books. And two of the big books that I want to show you that I was able to add to the collection and I'm going to start with this one first. This is a Golden Age book. This is Human Torch issue number 23. And you guys have heard for years me talking about my love of Alex Schomburg and the Golden Age Human Torch. I was finally able this year to add this awesome book to my collection. I've read the book. It's not the best book, right? Because Golden Age, the tonality of the writing is very different, the storytelling very different. But it was fantastic to add this book to the collection, to achieve that goal, to be able to sit down and actually read this comic. And I still haven't graded it. Still haven't graded it because I'm still enjoying it in its present form. But I sold a bunch of books on the Encore app in order to actually buy that book. And I could not be more pleased. Could not be more pleased with that one. Another book that I bought is on the table here. This was not necessarily one that I identify as one that I wanted to specifically upgrade, but it was folded into the larger upgrade the larger goal of upgrading books in the collection strategically. This one kind of fell into my lap where someone reached out and said, hey, do you have this book? I'm interested in buying it. We were able to work a deal out. And then I had to go and replace that book because, you know, I have every Amazing Spider-Man, so I had to go out and replace it. But this wasn't a specific goal. It was, again, just part of a larger or overarching goal. But Amazing Spider-Man issue number 129. I went from a 6.5 that I bought back in 2018-ish in that time frame to a 9.0 with off-white pages. Really, really great book. I missed out on getting a 9.4 that was available. I could not pull the trigger on that one, but the 9.0 was not a bad way to go. And again, just another book that I'm really pleased to have in the collection. Goal setting is huge in my mind. It is huge in my mind. And again, if you've set some goals for yourself this year that you've been able to tackle, doesn't matter what they are, I am interested in hearing about your successes. I want to live vicariously through you. So leave down in the comment section what your goal was and how you took it down. If you haven't yet set a goal for yourself, again, as I mentioned, it's not too late. Not too late to set a goal for yourself. There's still enough time in the year potentially to make some magic happen. So if you haven't done it, sound off in the comment section. Let us know what your goal might be, and maybe we can help you to shape it a little bit to make it an attainable goal. I hope that you all found this video maybe helpful, maybe even entertaining. If so, I want to encourage you to give the video a thumbs up. And again, be certain to leave a comment behind. If you want to reach out to me, you can do it on Instagram at Regie Collects. Take care.
Turn me up in my headphones a little bit, like I want to feel it, I want to hear it. All right, that's it right there. I spoke. When the sun rise, till it's burned out. No place to recharge, so we gotta learn how. Conversations with OGs that got dreams that never worked out. So they become masters of dream analysis. They come in the form of barbers and schizos. Warhead with a big nose with his lip.